Most people are failing their children, and they don't even realize it, because they think that doing nothing in their child's spiritual life is somehow neutral, but it's not. If you don't disciple your children, you are handing them into a world that will. And that world is not confused about what it wants. It will shape their identity. It will define their morality. It will tell them who they are and what they should become. And it will not ask for your permission. So, let's be honest. A child without a moral foundation is not free. They are rudderless. What happens to a ship with no rudder? It doesn't explore. It drifts aimlessly until it crashes. I'm not being dramatic. That's predictable. Right now, your child is being discipled by screens, by culture, by peers, by people who do not know them and do not love them. And you are competing with that. Or you are surrendering to it. There is no third option. In the book of Deuteronomy, God doesn't suggest, He commands. Teach these things diligently to your children. Diligently. Not occasionally. Not when it's convenient. Not when church fits into your schedule. Diligently. And it starts with you. These words shall be in your heart. Do you actually believe what you claim to believe? Or have you settled into a version of Christianity that requires nothing from you? Because you cannot pass down conviction you do not carry. Let me press harder. If you are not a Christian, if you were not raised this way, if you've never really examined it, you owe it to the child growing in your wife's belly to at least give it an honest try. Not for you, for them. Because if it's true, you are either giving them truth or withholding it. In Psalm 127, children are called a heritage of the Lord. That means entrusted. They are not yours to experiment with. You will answer for how you steward what was placed in your arms. And even a secular father understands this. You protect your child. You guard what they're exposed to. You make sure what they learn is right and true. So, why would you ignore the question of what is ultimately true? Jesus said in Matthew 18, it would be better to have a millstone tied around your neck and be thrown into the sea than to cause a child to stumble. That is not metaphorical softness. That is seriousness. Because what happens to children matters to God. Let's talk about reality. Your daughter is walking into a world that will define her value by attention, confuse her identity, teach her to trade worth for validation. Do you want her in that wilderness without knowing who she is? Without knowing she is fearfully and wonderfully made? Without knowing her worth comes from God, not from approval? Your son is walking into a world that will feed his appetite, reward his impulses, normalize selfishness. Fathers, do you want to raise a man who becomes the man you regret being? Mothers, do you want to raise a man who treats women the way you were treated? Because if you don't form him, something else will. In Judges 2, a generation rose that did not know the Lord. It only took one generation of parents who didn't pass it down, and everything collapsed. This is how it happens. Not through attack, through neglect. Maybe you're thinking, I don't know enough. I wasn't raised that way. I don't want to get it wrong. I get that. I understand. When my oldest daughter was born, I was still practicing Buddhism. I would chant. I would say, Om. And one day she asked me, Daddy, how come you used to go Om? That question hit harder than any argument ever could, because I didn't have a good answer. It's hard to admit you were wrong, especially to the one you're supposed to be leading. I wish she had never been exposed to that confusion. Don't put yourself in that position. The truth is, you don't need to be perfect. You need to be intentional. In James 4, God gives grace to the humble. Submission doesn't change God. It changes you. Give Jesus a real chance. Not a version you've dismissed, not something you half-examined years ago. Actually look, actually ask, actually wrestle. Because if he is who he says he is the only foundation strong enough for your child. So what are you giving your child? A compass or confusion? Because one day they will walk this world without you. And what you put in them will come out. Father, search us. Show us where we've been passive, where we've been afraid, where we've avoided responsibility. Give us courage to lead, humility to seek truth, strength to be consistent. Protect the children entrusted to us. Anchor them in what is real. And if we've drifted, bring us back. So be it. May the truth set us all free.